Hi, Shalom. So you can hear me fine?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm Josh, this Canada Academy. Yeah, I think we will start by you just filling me in on the situation because I really don't know much about it.
Sure. Okay, so it's kind of long and complicated. I'll give you the Colts Notes version. Basically, I got Bella when she was about 6 weeks old.
Gotcha.
I also got one of her litter mates, same time, also female. Very stupid decision.
Gotcha.
I was at the time, not so much now, but at the time, I didn't know anything, like nothing, about dogs, about high-drive breeds, about, I had family dogs my whole life, but had never been in a situation living in a place where I could have a dog.
Gotcha.
And so this woman that I knew was like, I'm getting puppies, do you want one? Or, I'm getting a puppy, do you want one? And I was like, okay, sure. And then she brought home 4 puppies, stupidly, and was like, do you want 2? And I was like, sure. And that was bad.
So they're both female, or one's male, one's female?
They were both female. I only have one now. They were best friends for about 4 months, and then they were worst enemies. And like fight to the death. Horrible.
This was around what age? Around a year?
Around 4 months.
Around 4 months?
Yeah, so they still had their puppy teeth, but they were like when they would get going, they just locked in place on each other, and there were vet visits involved.
What's the breed?
So, Dutch Shepherd, Malinois, Staffordshire Terrier, Swiss Shepherd. She's a high-performance mutt, basically.
Gotcha.
And I didn't know anything about the breed. We didn't know what her breed was at first. And did a DNA test to figure it out. Anyway, so at 4 months she became an only dog in the house. And she had way too much freedom. We lived on a big acreage. I hadn't really done any training. She just got to run around and play and be a dog and chase things. And at about 8 months old, she was like a holy terror.
At 8 months?
and I realized, and a liability. She was quite, I couldn't take her anywhere. She is really reactive, aggressive.
Towards people
Dogs.
and dogs?
Both, yeah. Dogs are worse, harder for her to handle, but people also, people with dogs,
Gotcha.
bikes, cars, anything moves, really. And so I started, I rolled up my sleeves and was like, okay, I need to learn. So the past almost a little over a year now has been me obsessively researching, training, finding people to work with, trying to put together the puzzle pieces that will help me fix my dog.
Yeah.
And we've made a lot of progress, but
Awesome.
she still struggles with state of mind, emotional regulation.
Gotcha.
We've got a solid obedience foundation. We do sport tracking. She's got opportunities for drive expression. She's doing better with self-settling in the house, but she's still like a pushy, demanding little brat that will bite me, and she disagrees.
Gotcha. So she's a bitch. Yeah. No, I know what that's like. There's a few things that would help to know. When you say she's pushy, what could you give me an example of how, like a typical time that she pushes you?
She pushes forward when we are walking. She
Gotcha.
also wants to be she pushes into his personal space and demands attention. If there are guests that she knows, she is jumpy and like really excited and overstimulated and
Gotcha.
wants to she's demanding of space and time.
Yes. So what's the home life look like for her from morning till evening? What's a typical day?
She is crated often, and mostly she does fine in there. When she realizes it's generally like the time when she's gonna get out, she'll start whining in anticipation. I have gone through phases where she has less freedom, phases where she has more freedom. When I think like she can kind of handle it,
Yeah.
I start letting her have a bit more free roam, and generally that ends up with her not being able to handle it.
So let me tell you, I got enough now. We got it. I needed to keep going for a little while. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I know exactly what everything is coming down to bring it to the next level for you. And this is, and it's usually the case because it's the hardest thing to achieve the first time, and then it's a process to use it. So let me know at any point. Just interrupt me if you have a question. Okay. So basically, this is how I work this with all dogs, but especially the dogs who are like this. I need to do a ritual with them where I create calm submission. And this can usually be, when I meet the dog, it's usually a stranger to me, and that makes a difference. They don't know me and I don't know them, and we do something along the line, one of the rituals that I choose where we have a disagreement, and it's validated that I submit the dog. And the cool thing about this is like submission is how you get the respect, it creates more trust, blah, blah, blah. But then after, the thing that we have to do is we have to make sure we capture that state of mind with a sound so that we can recreate, so we can tell them that this sound means that state of mind. And what it is calm submission, they're calm and they're submissive to whatever's happening, but it puts them in a follower mode where then you are able to tell them what to do and they listen once they enter this space. So this is the abstract kind of way of explaining it. You teach them to go into this calm submissive state. I use the old shush sound. You know, you can choose any sound you want. Shh. And that usually reminds them to take their energy down and submit, be passive. So like, you're not allowed to interact with the environment at this time. After I make that sound and I direct you away from the situation, you're no longer allowed back to it. And so creating the submission, the calm submissive state, you can literally, like puppies, when you do it with puppies, you put down some meat on the floor and they come over and they want it. And I shush, which is my growl really. Essentially it's your growl. And then my correction, which with a puppy I'd use my hands, the old Cesar Millan stuff, that's my bite. And I submit them around the food, like a grown dog would. And they learn that's my language. Shush is pretty much my growl. You might want to relax and get away. And if you don't listen, I'll bite you. And usually when the first time you go in with a dog like yours and you go to bite them, they strike back. They come back. And that means full-on submission. And that allows you to have control over that dog, because after they submit, they're pretty much saying, fine, I will do what you are saying. We'll do it your way.
So what does that, like, okay, so if you, when you shh and then you correct.
Yes. Is
that a spatial correction? Like, is that a spatial pressure?
Yeah, it's everything. It's mimicking kind of the way dogs do it. So if you're claiming a resource, which is what I like to start with because everything's a resource. Like the people coming in your house is a resource. The couch is a resource. So basically the leader, this is how it works. The leader gets first access to all resources, right? So if the pack comes across something nice and new that everybody wants, the leader gets it first, and they know that, and because in the past he's already went through this conversation. So they'll hang back and let that dog decide how to deal with the situation. So if you think of your living room, if I'm in control of a dog in the living room, and it's just me and the dog, there's no problems. Now something enters the living room. Something, it doesn't even matter what it is. It could be a human, a dog, whatever. The dog goes past me to try to go deal with it. I punish that dog. I forget all about who's even here. I have my conversation with that dog saying, when new things enter the environment, it's me who deciphers how to use it or how to deal with it. You stay back and you never engage unless I've offered you. And even when I do, I can tell you to leave at any time. This is the type of relationship that allows you then to, now this doesn't solve your dog's problems with the world. This gets you the relationship you need to then solve the problems in the world. And how it's done is this. It's the simple concept of reconditioning the response, because it's the association. So it's like, now I can get the dog to this calm, submissive state when I make a sound. And I can also tell them to leave and use my body to push them away from the door or wherever I need them to go, and they listen and there's no fuss. Now I'm going to start testing this dog. Now I'm going to have somebody come to the door. This is all planned. Every day we're testing you. Every day we're going to put you in a situation where if you fuck up, I'm going to punish you and then show you how to go calm. And this is how it goes. I have my dog in this calm space, and all of a sudden, knock, 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 the dog elevates. Wrong. The dog elevates, explodes, does anything. Wrong. I make my noise, create the calm state of mind again. Usually I'm using a slip lead and resting them, relaxing them. They relax fully, the first time's a shit show. They relax fully, knock again. They elevate, no, relax again. And so you're conditioning the brain, when you hear this sound, relax. And it starts there. You have that conversation, you add multiple conversations that you can find with her. Another one being the walk. Now with the walk, you can't be in front of me. And if you go out in front of me, I'll let you go out in front of you, but I'm going to correct you and put you back. So you have to create a 100% follower. And so that means everything in your house is yours. So I would be curious to see how she behaves when you show a lot of affection over the top, goofy even, to your husband. Does she try to come over and get in between? And what would happen if you went and told her to shoot? You know?
Have any issue with me and him interacting with each other.
Good.
If she's out of the crate and he's on the couch, she will be constantly pestering him.
What would she do? You got to use your imagination here. So say we're in that situation. I need to know her temperament. So she's doing it. She's pestering him. You know, she's like, pat me, pat me, pat me. What would happen if he didn't say a word and just smacked her under the chin really hard and said, go?
She might come back and bite him.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be roaming unless we're putting her in that situation to solve it. Because if she's walking around, if she's that position in the hierarchy to her, and you're allowing her freedoms, then you're saying you're in the right spot. You're where you need to be in the hierarchy. You have your beliefs right. That freedom lets her know that you're exactly how you need to be. And so she won't change. One thing that could happen is that gets set up, where you guys already planned it. You're a step ahead of the dog. That's why there's a kennel, so that when she comes out, you're ready for her. And she's going through a test when she comes out of the kennel every time in order to until she passes it to the point where you can't fuck her up. You pick one thing at a time. This is what I would do when she's out of the kennel to work on. And if it's like, here, come into the living room, and as soon as she starts, you offer her into the living room. She doesn't know this yet, but she can't leave the living room because you didn't say she could. Another thing is she starts sniffing on stuff, like walking up to the couch and sniffing it, walking up to the husband, walking up to anything and interacting with it. You're going to say no and put yourself in between and tell her to go. She tries to leave the room. No, come back in. Eventually, she's going to say, I can't do anything, and lay down. And then you leave her alone. And if she picks up and then tries to go do something on her own, no, go back and lay down. She can't do anything anymore unless you've offered her to do it. And then when you do offer her to do it, she's got to stop when you say. And once she gets used to that, I'm going to disagree with you, you relax, your problem goes away. It doesn't matter the situation. All right? So with you, not with your husband. Your husband, it would be interesting to see what would happen if he would just defend himself, not physically, but just say, no, go, and use social that he doesn't want her around. What would she do?
He does try and push her away, but it tends to be a bit more frantic, and
he doesn't know how to do it with a dog. Yeah. He's too much like a human.
She just keeps.
Oh, that bad? See, here's the thing. If the dog can't do that to the leader unless the leader's offered it. So she just knows that he's not going to do that. So it's really, you know.
Like, I have to get involved.
If you know there's a bite behind it, if he were to defend himself, then I would be going after that conversation. Me personally, if it was my personal dog. The best thing to do is to bonk a dog in that situation. I would have her on a slip lead when she comes out of the kennel. You don't even have to be hanging on to it, but it's around the neck just in case you have to go fishing for it and grab it. But I would have it set up where it's like, here she comes out of the kennel. Here's daddy, she comes up to daddy. You both say no, you can create it.
I don't think he's afraid to do that. He has tried to scruff her in the past. She turns into a slay ring.
So he doesn't know how to submit. Yeah, you're not done, dude. Listen, nobody sees it fully. She's an animal. It needs to end with her on the side panting and not fucking moving. Nobody brings it too far. She grabs the dog and it's like it flips out and you're like, I'm done. No, watch dogs do it to each other. They don't just go rah and then they're done. Usually when it's over something, the dog's over the other dog and the other dog's not getting up. And if the dog tries to get up, he puts his mouth on him again. Submission.
She used to do that. She used to do that to her litter mate. She was the dominant.
Yeah. Well, if you want to learn how to submit a dog and you want to do it and you want to know if you can do it at a professional level, she's the one for you. Because if she bites back, that's what requires professional help. Is that the dog corrects after being corrected. That's usually where you draw the line and you say, okay, professional help. But it sounds like you want to do it on your own, right?
Well, I have so far been working with trainers to
Good.
try and deal with this, and trying to find the right person.
Oh, you're looking for a trainer.
Well, we spent about 6 months with one person doing private lessons every 2 weeks, and then felt like we just weren't making progress. And all the trainers that I've worked with so far, I have been handling her.
Yeah, because she's dangerous.
Because she's dangerous.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't. The woman who we are working with now has been the first person who's actually been able to hold the leash. And it was only for about 5 minutes.
You're working with the wrong people.
It's always been a focus on obedience behaviors and not so much a focus on mindset.
Where are you located?
Vancouver, British Columbia.
Vancouver. I know a really good trainer, I think, out that way. Actually, I'm going to look on my phone, but I'm using my phone.
Okay.
It wouldn't be bad to get a professional though, but listen, if you think like this, if you think, what if Cesar Millan was in your house, right? What if Cesar Millan was at your disposal? Which I consider one of the best dog handlers out there. Would he not be able to hold that leash the whole session? Fuck no, he'd hold it as long as he'd want it to, and he would submit that dog, and we'd be moving on our way. That's the kind of guy I am. This whole once a week thing for this type of dog is not going to work. She needs an immersive training where everything changes. You're no longer home, you're no longer around your mama, you're no longer around your papa, and somebody takes control. Or what I would do if I were you, because I'm me, is I would do it my fucking self. I've never sent my dog with somebody else. This is my child to spank, you know what I mean? So
I want to do it myself.
this is all right, so I'm gonna give you material to look at. One of it's gonna be the dog whisperer, because you need to learn how to submit a dog. Your husband needs to learn how to act around a dog when he's upset. It can't be frustration like that, it doesn't work. You gotta learn to submit her. That's gonna be your thing. Because at the end of the day, if she strikes at you, the way to deal with that is to submit her on the ground. And it's dangerous. So if she needs a muzzle,
Historically not worked. Yeah, we're working on muzzle training. I have a muzzle, but it's hard to get her in it.
you're in over your head, man. Bad. This phone call can't do much besides, I'm trying to think how I can give you the best help. And I think maybe somebody who really could help you, if I knew somebody that could really help you that was really close, might be the way. But like you said, you can't afford it, and I don't know their prices.
I mean, I can't believe
Gotcha.
Like that,
Okay. Okay. No, I get it.
Training. I can't afford
Gotcha.
a board and train.
Gotcha. Thank you for putting up with me. I'm getting your situation a little better. So, you have an e-collar, I take it?
Yes, she's e-collar trained. Prong collar amps her up. Corrections on the prong collar amp her up.
Yeah.
E-collar is better, but sometimes will still amp her up if given the right circumstances. I have used dominant dog collar with her to cut her drives. That seems to work better.
Yeah.
But
that's the tool. If you had that
correct.
you had that dominant dog collar up here, right? Way up here. And it's not on the throat. And when you feel it, if you really take the front two paws off the ground, I'm sure you can feel that she can't breathe anymore.
Well,
Right?
my issue with the dominant dog collar is either juggling leashes or trying to hook it to the leash and then having to grab in close to pull it up.
Oh wait, it's not already on her?
Issue. No, it is already on her. But I like to walk her on a prong so that I can give her easier directional feedback.
She shouldn't need. I'm going somewhere because I know you've been to trainers and stuff, but the thing is like if your dog's done or if your dog respects you, they walk behind you, and it doesn't take direction or information after they know what you're already asking. It doesn't. This is where it's going wrong. That dominant dog collar is all you fucking need. And this is what you can use a prong, whatever you make comfortable. When it's time to put her on her side, that's the tool, the dominant dog collar. And if you've noticed, if you've used it properly, she can't breathe. Yeah. You're in control. Don't be afraid of it. If you are, that's the moment. Once you go like this, and your hand and her mouth comes up, it can't reach your hand. You lock your shoulder out. She can't reach you anywhere. I've done this hundreds of times. They can't touch you. If you know the simple mechanics, that's why I'm saying watch the old Dog Whisperer stuff, because they didn't cut that shit out. It wasn't filmed in 2020 where they want to show you that stuff. It's in there. It's in there, and you can see how his mechanics, how he locks his shoulder, and the dog pretty much about goes bye-bye, almost goes to sleep, because that's what happens and in that moment is when they go to the ground. There's like, you don't just grab the dog and throw it to the ground. It's wild. It's got too much power. You let it fight a minute. If you watch Cesar Millan, if you just watch him, you wonder why is he holding it like this and he's letting the dog wear itself out. He's bobbing it a little bit. He's not even taking out the air fully. He'll take off the air for a little bit, then let it breathe and take it back, just to let the dog keep fighting, dude, because I'm not wearing any energy out. And as soon as the dog starts to feel like it's tiring, it's like, boom, a little firmer of a tight and down on the ground, and then we finish it off there. It's not something that you're gonna be able to be taught. I never met anybody that would teach you how to do it necessarily. It's just something that if you see enough times, especially in person, somebody else do it, it helps to see it done. Now, I never seen somebody do it before I started doing it other than on TV with Cesar Millan. But, and they go to shit sometimes when you try to do it. But the thing is you always have to end it properly. You can't stop unless you know you're going to submit her. Otherwise, don't, like I want to start. Because if she wins, then the opposite happens. Now she has less respect for you, you know, but it's like, you're not even like, you just gave me all you got and it didn't work, you know? So it wouldn't be too difficult really to take, if you think about it, like, I always think of things like this. How hard would it be when that dog started to go, to grab a leash and to do this and then don't even let her down and she just passes out and she goes bye-bye. It's possible. Now I'm not saying you're going to do that, but it's possible. Which just tells me that it's like when you go into the correction, she starts flipping out. You're like, now I don't know what to do. But she's gonna flip out. You're gonna rope around her neck. She's gonna the first time. You teach them, if you relax, it goes away. You start to go like this, it goes up. You relax, it goes away. A few times down the road, the dog feels the tension and relaxes, and then you relax. There's so many things mechanically that need to be learned before submitting her. So I guess we're not going to talk about that necessarily because if you were ready to submit her, you would have already done it. So if you can't afford a board and train, you're struggling with submitting her, struggling with punishing her. It's it's you become a trainer, or you hire somebody like me, or it's just you're just gonna keep struggling because you're playing catch up, like my video said. You're playing catch up with worse than Eli, who I'm dealing with right now, who's bad enough. He's bad enough. His owners are old. Yeah, and his owners are old though. They're like 60s, dude, and they're gonna have to, like, it's not good. So I think, listen, I'll be honest with you. I think you have this in you to do this. I believe you do, and I think if you do it, I know I can't teach you how to do it or whatever. I see that you want it, and I see that you're tough. You're a tough person, and I have a feeling that you could get this from her on your own. But it's gonna take trial and error. It's gonna take studying. It's gonna take the whole pain of it, and then when you accomplish this, you can help other people. Something good will come from it if you want to, and if you don't want to help other people, you don't have to. But you can do this. But it's gonna be a bit of a. It's gonna be a hustle. It's gonna be a hustle.
Well, it already has been hustled, so that's fine.
When you let her out of the kennel, it's a test for her every day. And and once she's out of the kennel, you're working on that behavior. And when you're not working on the behavior, it's back in the kennel, and you're likely to run into attitude. You're likely to hurt. You're gonna say go this way, and she's gonna say no. And those are the moments that I'm talking about. That's where if you punish her, you know she's gonna strike, and then you know what you have to do. You know what you have to do, and you will once you watch Caesar. And I know Caesar's not perfect with everything he does, because he leaves a lot of freedom for the dogs to make mistakes. He doesn't like tools. He likes to do it himself, but he knows how to handle a dog when it comes to no tools and just me and you, dog, with a slip lead, and it'll show you how to submit these crazy dogs. And if you don't feel like, the thing with me is I don't know how to do it without submitting her. I don't know if it's possible. Unless we went the other route where we were using her meals. We had her starving, kind of like she's half of her body weight. She's so hungry she'll do anything for you at any time, because the only time she gets fed is when you tell her to do something. Now you could do a little bit of both.
The only time she gets fed, it's always the hand.
It's the fucking submission that's missing. It's the submission. Now listen, she's always going to be who she is, but you'll have control over her. So she's always going to be a little bitey, but that's not bad as long as you have control over it, right? It's like buying a gun, but it randomly shoots people on its own, right? If it didn't do that and it did what you said, you would be fine. So we just need to take control over her. We don't need to take control. Yeah, I know you got it, girl. You got it. I know you do. I just have a feeling, all right? She will teach you, as long as I would watch Season Milan and start applying it, but before we get off from here, she's in her kennel. The pushy behavior, I would start correcting firmer for small stuff. And what's gonna happen, this is why nobody does it, I don't think, is because what's gonna happen is we don't know how she's gonna respond. So first thing is, if I go to get her out of the kennel and she goes to nuzzle out, I'm just gonna slam it in her face. Less talking, by the way, a lot of less talking. I'm just basically saying like no and good at this point, like shush and like good girl. But I'm not saying let's get out of the kennel. I just open it up and she goes to get out and I slam it in her face. And if it hits her nose, well, you didn't realize that the rule is, for me, which you found out just now, is you can't come out until I say. And what happens is they usually are dumbfounded. They usually like this, and then they kind of sit. And in that moment where they're relaxed and they're like, what do I do? You say, good. Good for not trying to come out. Even though you're not sure that's what it's all about. I close the door again, open it again. Starts to go, shut it, but it doesn't catch her face because she's smart. Good. Open it again. She's weary about coming out. Good. I want you to be, because I didn't say come out. This is how it all starts. And now I'm going to put your leash on, because you're not being off leash in this house anymore. Just a slip lead will do. A dominant dog collar. Slip lead is similar to a dominant dog collar. Okay. She comes out. I usually use a dressage whip or something too, even if the whip's cut off, just so I have a stick or something. If they come out, the first room they want to leave. The first door, we get up on that door, she goes to get out, and it's a correction. And ask her to go back in. Now I'm not yelling at her or anything. I let her go out, correct on the leash. I have my whip and everything, and I just bring her back in, walk away from the door with her, walk back up to the door. This time I might shush to give her a warning. She goes back out again. You don't walk through doors without me saying now. And this might be a whole session. You might be like, wow, I finally got her waiting at every door and walking through rooms with me without going past me. Now back in the kennel after a potty break. I want you to think about that, because when we take you out next time, we're gonna build on that, right? Until there's not a problem there. And when there's not a problem there, you might be able to lay on the place bed. But while you're on the place bed, I'm gonna be testing you so that you're not testing me. Here we go, here's a squeaky toy. Nope, not supposed to get off the bed. Correction, back on the bed, calm down. Let the air settle, give it a few minutes. Here's another squeaky toy until she's not falling for it anymore and she relaxes. Back in the kennel, right?
So at this point, are you using obedience commands? Like verbal
Yeah, you can use the commands to tell them what to do, absolutely. The commands are so useful for being specific, like go lay down over there on that bed, rather than just go in that direction. You can be specific, but the thing that you don't want to do is start giving commands when you need to be given punishment. And the way it is this: if she breaks one of these rules, the rules are like, you don't go through a threshold without a human saying. You don't go check stuff out without a human saying. All the little rules you'll learn from Caesar. He won't say them directly like me, but you'll see him using them. And so you'll learn the rules between human and dog, like the relationship you're looking for through him, and kind of how to do some stuff. So this is it. This changes the way she views, right? And she can eat in the kennel and everything, and you can give her permission until she eats all that stuff. But going out the potty, it's the same thing. We're waiting at the door, and you're testing her and then putting her back in the kennel and letting her sit. And so, but the thing is it's a lot of time in the kennel, but eventually she'll be able to be out in the living room without a fuss. With knocks on the door, she'll know her place and everything. And you know, we got videos showing how to do that technically. She's trained though. This is the thing. Let's say she's finally on place after like a week of this, and you're like, man, she's good enough to be on place. Knock on the door, she leaves place, she runs over to the door, and then what everybody does is they say, Fido, come, place. That's wrong. She has to be given a punishment for breaking the rule. And then after that, calm her down. And then after that, tell her where to go. So it's a lot slower. It's more, you're not moving around frantically. If you watch Caesar Milan, again, that's why I want you to watch him. He's not moving around frantically when he's doing this. And he's putting time in between. And then watch me, of course, because I have my own way of explaining it. But basically, the dog makes the mistake of elevating an energy, really, is what happens. You're not allowed to go intense. That's not allowed unless we've said you're allowed to. That's a big thing with her. But she gets off, she runs to the door, and you're like, you say no, correction, she yelps, whatever. Calm her down with your social. Spatial, get close to her, she relaxes. She looks at you. Place. Then she goes to place. Wait a second. Okay, knock again. We're teaching her how to do this. How does she respond? Literally, this will get your dog more than likely. It's quiet, and you jingle the door handle. Eventually, that kind of stuff will get punished, but we're gonna go for the big things first and then go down to the mind, like the small things, like if she's on place and she lifts her head up intentionally, correcting that, putting it back down. That comes after we've already dealt with stepping off place, barking, lunging at the door. We let them make those mistakes, correct them, put them back on place till they're not doing that. And then we go after and that produces a double down. We say, good, the double down. And now we have a tool, a mechanism of saying the dog triggers, we can correct it, and we can bring them back to the calm state of mind, which means we're now training the mind. And the dog will start self-regulating in order to avoid the corrections. And when the dog self-regulates, they get praise. But here's the thing, there's so much to learn because, well, praise is gonna get her crazy. Well, that's calm affection. You need to learn part of the submission process teaches them how to get pet calmly too. She needs to learn to get pet calmly. So if she starts to get...
to get pet when she is in a command.
No, it's because she doesn't want to be in a command. No, I get it. And that's part of the problem.
Like, no, where's my reward?
I bet you right now,
Where's my reward?
you start this shit, she's gonna want you to pet her because everything gets taken away. There is no reward. What do you mean reward? The reward is that you're out of your kennel.
Okay, so
Right?
I had a question about that. So, right now we are doing training for rewards, right? For her daily food rations, everything by hand, and for toys to play
Yeah,
in
that's right.
structured games.
That's right.
How do I just straight up transition to...
Good question. Good question. This is what I would do. Okay, so we went down that road. Whoops. Like, that's not good for a drivey dog to put drive in the commands, right? If our goal is to get drive down, which that's what we're doing, we don't want excitement in our stay commands. It doesn't make sense. The association's everything. The more you learn about dog training, the more you're going to learn about associations being. Literally, if you learn about associations and how to change them, you will be a professional who is successful more than the rest. Because it's not about the commands. The thing about a command is if you teach how you teach it, how they feel about it when you teach it is how they feel about it when you use it. So if you're like, God damn it, I need the dog to get on the place bed. This is an emergency. Someone's coming over. I forgot they were here. And you say place, and she remembers place means this spirit. This is what place means. Hop over here. Nah. And that's what you're going to get. Now you're going to get a fucking jazzed up dog that you can't control. Never use excitement and stay commands. Sit down in place. That is, and people are doing it, but that's why people who are doing it, that's why you call guys like me. We retrain those dogs every day. Every day. Now that the public's becoming aware that that doesn't work. That works for things that dogs like to do, like frisbee, and like things that need energy, like attacking. It doesn't work in the house. It looks good, sit, down, place, but then the mind's always, and then when they're there, they're waiting for the release. So so this is how you use the food instead, okay? You're still gonna use food. Now, she gets the reward for calmness. So she's on place, she's been there, you went through a couple things. It's like she looks like she finally relaxed. Like she's accepted that she looks like she's not going anywhere. She's like, fine, I'm gonna be here a while. Then I'll walk over to her calmly, bend down and give her a piece of food. A couple kibble, like good job on that exercise, right? Good job for being calm. Or if like we do something that you don't like we have a session that I have to teach you to put you on your side and like brush you or something. At the end of that session, here you go, here's some food. I appreciate that, right? That is not going to steer you wrong. What's going to steer you wrong is like, come, sit, and the dog's elevated, and you're feeding an elevated mind. So the association to that word is an elevated mind. And that's no good. So to counter that, you're going to start your shush. Once your shush means to, to relax to your dog, as soon as you say down and your dog's like, reward, you go, shh, no. And you see a little relaxation in the muscles, good. It's not going to be perfect at first. She's not going to do that. But she might relax slightly and you say, good. And so you need her to understand that shush means to relax, and sit down in place, and these stay commands, they mean relax too. They don't mean we're working. So no more training like that. No more working on the commands. She already knows them. We're just working on applying the commands and making sure she's calm doing them in the inside behavior. And so what I would replace that time with is working on the stuff I'm telling you to. But then when you feel like you got a grip on this, I would work on that walk and make sure she doesn't go out in front of you. And I would use that dressage whip or whatever you decide with the slip lead. And when she comes out, it's like, if you watch my videos, I can just tag them under the chin and bring them back. Like with the dressage whip, I can come up or come over and say, knock it off. But I got the slip lead in case they try to strike. And what happens is once they kind of like look back and they hang out behind me, I say, good job. I'm not always like dominant to them, right? I'm just no, and then when they do what I like, I say good. And then they go out again, no. But I don't always say I don't say no usually when I'm teaching a dog to walk. This isn't until it's done and I have to give reminders. It's quiet. They just go out and they just get a correction, and then I give them information and say, go back there. Because if you say no, they'll learn that a correction's coming. You'll give them one up, and they'll definitely manipulate that. So in the beginning, it's just the correction happens as if the rule's out of your control, as if the outcome's even out of your control. It's just what happens now is there's a little correction, and it's a little bop with the thing, or with your leash, or with your heel even. Just bop her back, turn around with your body a little bit, and telling her to stay back there. They get it. They don't even need. I've gotten dogs to like heel by turning them into followers and never creating a heel. Just the mind. And you do that in a session, you know? She goes out.
Really hard on heel position.
So in the beginning, to work less hard, this is what you do. You think big to small. So let's say the dog, if you give her the full leash, she's just gonna pull you down the street, okay? This is how most dogs come in. They're gonna just, you go out the door and it already starts. They're gone, right? So what I would do with her is I would pull out an old school technique actually, where basically the dog goes to the end of the leash, they go out in front of you, you know they're about to hit the end of the leash, you turn, give a pop and walk in the other direction. What happens is the dog then runs past you in the other direction, and you let them. You're not trying to tell them to heel. Because what happens if you just try to tell a dog to heel here and they never came to their own conclusion to hang out close to you is they always want to go out. You just let them go out. Correction, I usually do e-collar. Tap, pop, and then turn the other way. And I'm not saying anything to the dog other than when they're by my side. I just kind of say, hey, what's up, girl? Like, good to see you. I'm glad you want to hang out with me. That's now a nice spot to be. You let her go out enough doing this, what's going to happen is she's going to hang out around about you, right? And I kind of let that happen and walk into a new environment. She goes out again, let her hit the end of the leash, bang, turn around. You got a dog hanging around you. Now you got a dog who's kind of looking at you like, what do I do? What do I do? In that moment, now I step in, I correct her, I put her behind me, I relax her, and I say, let's go. And then if she makes a mistake and goes out again, it's just boom. Eventually they don't. They just kind of hesitate and walk with you, and they're like, and you say good, and they're like, oh, you want me to follow you? Got it. And then once they get that, to follow you, you just reinforce it, and I'm telling you, you would be very upset if you've seen how quick it happens. You would be upset. But once you learn how to do it, you know, then you might be able to use that to your advantage. Because you wouldn't be surprised how if you could do it with a dog like her, how you could do it with the rest of America's dogs and make a nice living doing it. And show them how to do it. It's not a bad idea to keep it in your mind for further motivation that she's going to give you a skill set that less than 1,000 people that I know have in America. You know what I mean? So which means you can name your price, but so she can help you. So C's mom will also say you don't get the dog you want, you get the dog you need. So something's going on where maybe she's there for a reason or she's going to help you out. I wouldn't give up on her, and then you're not. I already know. And I do think you have what it takes. And I haven't met you, but I'm pretty good at reading small things and coming up with a big thing. So I think that you have what it takes, especially if you and your husband team up. But you're gonna have to take control of the life again, of everything. She can't be out of the kennel without being tested. And in any of these times, if she strikes at you or something, or if she really starts to go crazy, it's your opportunity to try your best, if you've been watching and studying, to lay her on her side and submit her. Those are the opportunities. Because once it's done, it's not like you have to do it forever. You do it when it's appropriate. Like any type of kickback like this on the leash, that's getting hung up. Any type of like frantic shit, that's getting hung up. Now, if she's jumping on your husband, you don't necessarily have to pin her because she's being friendly, but she's being over the top. You can just grab the pressure up until she might flip out, but once she relaxes, you put her back down. And then your husband says, hey, and she goes back up for a jump, and she learns jumping's what causes my throat to not feel good. You have to give her a chance to make the mistake again, get corrected, put back down, reset, so you can get the job done today, not tomorrow. Not like, oh, she jumped on me today, so let's try again tomorrow. It's like, she jumps on you, let's have her jump on you 50 times, but I bet you we don't even make it to 3 because we're going to start correcting. And then tomorrow I'm going to see if she'll jump on me, and you'll get to the point where you can't get her to jump on you super fast as soon as you understand how to think about this. And a little skills on like how to correct safely, which I'll give you a couple trainers to watch who are better to watch than me when it comes to using like prong and leash and stuff, and really having a system. And I think that once you start watching their videos, you're gonna take this to the next level, because they will explain things a little more easy to understand than I do. And there's so many fucking videos for these two guys. Okay, you ready for these two guys? Okay, the first guy is the first guy's in Rhode Island. His company's name is Solid Canine Training, and his name is Jeff Gellman, and he's cool. You're gonna like him. He's gonna make you feel better because he's gonna make you feel like you're not alone and that you can do this, because he loves empowering people, and so he's great. But then the other guy's in California, and his name's Sean O'Shea, and the Good Dog. So these are guys that you're gonna want to follow. There's other trainers out there too, but I like to send newcomers to these guys because their stuff's easy to implement. Once you watch a couple, like I've seen people, I'm not even kidding you, I've seen people watch their videos, and to some degree I'm one of them, and start a career 6 months later after using it, and like successful, because people don't know how to do it anymore. People don't know how to walk their dogs. People don't know how to do this. Your dog's really bad, so you have the story of a typical trainer who has a really bad dog and then learns how to do it and then realizes, oh, well, now I got this skill, I might as well not put it to waste. So watch Sean, watch Jeff. They'll teach you. They have videos. They have old videos from years ago that teach you how to teach your dog how to heel, how to teach it all. But also, Jeff has a lot of videos, if you can get your hands on them, of behavior modification. If you look on his playlist, there will be a playlist called behavior modification, and that's a fancy term to say how we correct shit we don't like. Right? Like counter surfing and biting kids, and he has protocols that are still up, more than likely, where he will show you how to set a dog up to do the bite safely so that you can correct it. Like how to tie them back on a leash, like professionally do it. And that just gives you another layer of safety. Because now you're like, well, I got this professional method that you know you're safe. She's on a tie back and all this stuff. And you can see how I do it, which is the least professional way. And then you can see how, and so doesn't Caesar. Caesar is so just hands-on. He has like no safety. He's even worse than I am. He'll get in there with no muzzles with all these dogs. And then you have Sean O'Shea, who I think is you're not going to get anything fancy with him at all. It's like cut, and he's gonna make sure that your mind is going in the right direction, how to think about a dog. And then the rest is like, she's giving you opportunities to apply this stuff all day. And one day you're gonna see her resist, and you're gonna say no, and she's gonna kick back, and you're gonna go through the procedure. And I know what a lot of professionals do in that moment is they use the slip lead up, and they use an e-collar correction, and then they just put them down. Even if you don't side submit them, you put them down when they're calm. And then you just repeat whatever the argument was over, and if she listens, then you move on, and you keep doing that until there's no more arguments, because she doesn't like to argue with you no matter the situation. She knows that when you talk, you mean. And so she'll start listening to you. It doesn't mean she'll start listening to everybody, but it's a start. It's a start where you can keep that animal from moving in that room no matter what's in it, and I can do that with my dogs. And so can Sean and Jeff, and so can anybody else. They can say, don't move, and have anything in front of them, and they don't move. But you have to go out to earn that. So I would start testing her, because right now she's testing you. It's like, yeah, you're going to get out of the kennel, you're going to fuck up today. How about this? You're going to get out of the kennel, and we're ready for you to fuck up. And in fact, we know what we want you to fuck up on, so that we can talk about it. Give her a correction, give her that experience that didn't work out for you. Calm her mind, let the air clear, and if you don't want to do it anymore, it's back in the kennel and try it again later. You'll be very shocked about how fast she's going to change once you stop living with her like she's a pet and start living with her like she's a client's dog that you need to get safe right now. Right? Then like get it good. And take your time with it. You got all the time you need. You could take a year on this dog. So you get to go at it at a fresh angle to hopefully elevate you, because a dog like this will beat you down mentally and emotionally, because it's just no change. And every change that you do get, when you make progress, you have to work so hard, and then it feels like it's going backwards. It's all because of the missing link, and it's not your fault. All right? I'm convinced now that it's almost like the information isn't public, that you need to be doing these things with your dogs. It used to be public. It used to be common knowledge. If you go back to the books in the 50s and stuff, you're going to see them talking, and you're going to be like, holy shit, they used to do what to dogs? And like in these obedience classes, it was more about like telling your dog to do it just to make sure you could. So you tell the dog to sit, and if it didn't sit, it was like, wham, sit. And then it sat, and it was good. It's like, you're not going to find that in modern day training unless you're balanced. It's not going to happen. They're going to avoid confrontation, which means dogs aren't developing fully. They need to have a little argument, and they need to lose it early on in their life over and over again, so they're put in their place and they accept it and they're good. Now she's older. How old is she? 2?
She's 2.
That's at least she's not older than that. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. There's a chance. I do think that you could get this going on your own. Now, I would recommend, and I know you don't have the money for a board and train, but believe it or not, there's cheaper ways to learn how to do it yourself than a shadow or anything like that. And you might want to go and go to a seminar or something. I really think if you had a community of people that understood your struggle would help. Yeah, it is. You can't do that right now. You can't do it right now. Yeah.
It would be great to be able to do more in person.
That's a great resource right there. That'll be a great resource forever to be able to get around dogs like that. That'd be great. It sounds like you got a good trainer who's willing to work with you, so keep that rolling. Keep the trainer. And
We've got a couple scheduled for January.
good.
I'm trying to realize now that no one person necessarily has all of the skills and knowledge needed
Yes.
to fix it.
It's gonna be like a search. Like you have to search. Like I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty confident that I could get your dog where it needs to be, but I don't want to be honest with you, because I make more money with not on dogs like this. If it's a money business wise, they don't bring in a lot of money. They lose money because they're here longer, and it's difficult and it's a bite risk. But I know I've never met a dog that I couldn't get to be my follower, and I've had some fucking nasty dogs. Big old Rotties, big old Pitties, big old Mastiffs. It's not, I just don't want you to think that it's impossible, because if you give her to me, I could show you that it's possible and then give her back and say, well, I can't show you, it is possible. It depends on who she's living with. She's living, who Blake Rodriguez is in New York? He's another good one to follow. Give it to people who can handle her. It will happen, and it will happen like this. Give them to Jeff Gellman, it's gonna happen. So don't think that she can't be. There's a lot of shitty trainers out there is what I want you to know, if I'm being honest with you. And what I define as shitty trainers is they won't get you results, man. They just won't. The guys that I showed you do get results. I get results. That dog's no different than any of the other dogs that we've worked with that were wild mixes that lose their fucking mind the first time they get submitted, but they learn how to do it and they become a good girl, and she'd probably be my right-hand girl because she's a badass bitch, right? You want her right with you, but she's in her place. It's possible, but I want you to know, in my opinion, and if you take this on in a career sense and you go in, let's say 3-5 years from now, you're gonna be like, yeah, he's right. Most places won't get you what you're looking for with her. You're just not gonna find it. It's so fucking rare. This is one of them though, that does it for a living. Sean's place is one, Jeff's place is one. These guys can do it. The people that you're hanging around with might not be able to, all right? It's like if I don't know their name, they probably can't. I'm just telling you. I'm just saying in my experiences, I never had anybody say, hey, I had this trainer that's local that nobody knows and he's really good at rehabbing dogs. No, you hear like, he went there and he's a little bit better, but they don't bring him full circle. It's rare. Okay, so it's rare to find one person who knows it all until you find people who know how to do it. And you're talking to one right now. And I can give you a handful of people that know how to do it throughout the country. I know one person in Canada, but I don't know where he is. It's worth looking up though. His business name is Mango Dogs. I know he's in Canada. This guy knows what he's doing. And I don't think he is either. I think he's, yeah, he knows what he's doing. There's a handful of other guys on the coast that know what they're doing, but other than that, like the big box office and stuff, it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. They come here. They come to places like this because in the past 5 years, people have discovered that you can use e-collar for state of mind, and that's changed the industry. It's why I'm sitting here today. It's because I have that to offer, and I know if we're talking about people who know how to do state of mind on the e-collar, I don't even know. Very small, less than a few hundred, and we're talking the world. We're talking the world. That's why we're able to say $4,000 a dog, $6,000 a dog, $8,000 a dog, because we're doctors. Nobody knows how to do it. And so it can be done, but you're right that most trainers don't know how.
Do you feel like, because I don't want to squash her dry.
Yeah, I get it. You want to control it.
I want her to be a sport dog.
Gotcha.
But I want to be able to take that driving channel and teach her the rules.
Yes.
Do you feel like that's possible
I
for
do.
her to have this calm mindset and also be
Yes, I
able
do.
to
I do, but I'm not a sports guy, so I do understand something that might happen, but I do think you can have both. I've seen dogs who have both. I have both with my dogs, even though it's not a sporty dog, but I have control over that with any dog I ever lived with, ever. Always. And I know I've never met a dog that couldn't control it, but I'm not a sport guy, so I don't know this for sure, but I've heard sport guys say this, that those dogs who can do that will never be like grade A, and it's like, who gives a fuck? Who cares if they win a fucking championship? They can still do it.
I just want her to have a
She can do it. And it's all about associations. It's like, well, that energy is used at this place. So at this place is where you can do it. But anywhere but this place, absolutely fucking not. And that's how you do it. And that, I mean, that's one of the easiest ways to do it. You can actually get even, like the influence you can have over a dog, once you discover it, I think you're going to never see dogs the same again. You can have so much control and so much influence over them if you live with them and you want it and you earn it. And it's a lot of, it's not just like demanding it, you gotta respect the dog and all this stuff, you know? But you can have so much, you can literally have her ready to go and then go, and then she's done, right? But if we're gonna be using extreme drive, it's gonna be easiest just to say, never in any place but this place. You know, wherever the place is that you go and do the drivey stuff, it's usually in a similar, like a big field or something. They know. Like you can also use like a vest. Like when you have this vest on, you know it's time to go. Little tricks works around it. Like the police dogs that live at home, they absolutely can go from work mode to calm all the time. But the difference is, it's not. It's this. In this mode means you can't interact with the environment. In this mode means you can. Right? That's like the basic dog thing. If you go a step on top of that, it's like you still got that going on, but then you add on another layer where in this place, when I say this and we do this, you can enter drive, but you can't enter drive anywhere else. And you can control it. You can control it and you can get it on e-collar. You don't, I mean, my dogs aren't on e-collar. I use them on occasion on big hikes if I don't want to pay attention. I'm not going to tell you whether or not to get on e-collar, just the calm state of mind, just get it. You know, yeah, just, I do want to tell you that, you know, for some, it depends on the dog and it depends on the people. There's plenty of dogs that aren't as difficult as your dog that you can get this with, and you should be able to get it with as a professional without any tools, in my opinion. Because I come from dog whispering, which is the opposite of sports dogs. It's like two different worlds. And so that was my whole gateway into seeing this was respectful behavior, calm behavior, and how to get a pack to follow you. And so it turns out that that's the part that's missing in training for rehab in a lot of places these days. And you need pack, like she would be part of the pack here. Not just me and her, the dogs, and that helps a lot where she integrates into a new family, like a new pack, and learns how to be and learns how to take a position lower. And live that way long enough where she's used to it and like it works. But I think if you can do it yourself, it's best to do it yourself because you get so much out of it with her. You will get the respect, not the trainer. You know, you will get all of that. And she'll teach you how to do it. And you seem like the type of person that wants to know how it worked and how all that. So,
I spend 3 hours a day working with her every day.
well, that's a good, you know, you can take that 3 hours and make it, gear it towards the behavior rather than, because when we get Mallies in, I don't go and be like, well, we can't train you today because we got to go run you. They don't do shit. And they're calm, and they'll be treated like an average dog until obviously when they get to a point where they're all done and they feel great, then we'll find something that we can do healthy to get you running after a ball or something, whatever we can do, chuck it, hikes, whatever, we'll put that in your life, of course, but that is not the primary fucking mission, not even close. And they don't need to do that until they're completely where they need to be. You know, like if she was my dog, we wouldn't be doing anything. We wouldn't be going any to track and field. Not that you can't do that, because you have it. You have what's working for you. There's a separate location. Like she should be able to act differently at home. It will be fine. But me personally, I drop everything, and you're not getting out of that box until you behave, and then you can come into this box, which is the living room, till you behave, and then you'll learn how to get into this box, which is the car. I'm going to make sure that I have that dog under my thumb anywhere I go, and then I'll start doing shit with you. That's my approach, though. I was raised that way, where it's like, you know, get your elbows off the table. Why? It's like you don't ask why. That's a rule to make sure that we keep you under your thumb. Right? That's what they do with kids, used to, and that's what they used to do with dogs. Like, sit at the door. Does it really matter? It's to see where the fucking dog is up here. It's to say, if you don't, I can do this. It's to keep them in a follower. It's to keep them in check. So if you want control, you have to use control, and you have to continue to use control to keep control. Because as soon as like the laws go away, how long do you think that'll last before people start going fucking crazy and doing whatever they want? Not very quickly. People will be like, "Oh, we can do whatever we want." So you have to control the dog in some ways, tell them what to do in order to keep being able to tell them what to do. And so that's just how it goes. Just how it goes. So for her, it's like everything you do has to go through me. And in the beginning of the process, there's not a lot of talking. It's just letting her make mistakes, identifying it as a mistake, asking her to try again. If she keeps making the mistake, it's like you can punish him. For like doors, going in and out of doors, like she's gonna make that mistake. Or laying on the bed and not getting off when somebody walks in the door, or squeaky ball. You can make massive change with her concerning yourself with that, and then teaching her how to walk around, out your door and around your neighborhood block and perfecting that walk. And we don't go anywhere else, honey, until you can walk behind me on this walk, right? And then from there, I'll teach you how to get in the car and lay down and be quiet the entire fucking ride. Right? And then from there, I'll show you how to behave in this place. And now we've opened up your world enough where you can be in your kennel, you can be in the living room, you can take a walk with me, you can go in the car, and we can go to this one place where we have fun, and it's all under control because we've worked through it. Now if we want to add extra stuff on. And then what happens is, through this process, you gain control. There's going to be a point in the process where you're going to say, man, I really feel like I have influence over her. I can make a sound, and she listens to it immediately. This is what you get. This is the rewards you get for doing all the work. You get to be like, go, and she doesn't complain, she just walks away. Or come here, and she's happy for you to pet her because you're the leader, and they love being pet by the leader. They love because they want to be on your good side. So dogs who don't like petting, usually, by the end of it, they love being pet. They love it. But not to the point where they're like being crazy, they really enjoy it. That's because there's no contrast. Like, the contrast is, when it's on your terms, you get a correction. And when I go to pet you, it feels better than the correction. So it's like, she's just an association machine with teeth and high drive. Like she came out of the womb and just built a bunch of associations, and now she's just reacting and doing what she does. Because they weren't interrupted and redirected, she became what she was always going to become naturally. That's all it is. So if you had a lab, you would just be like, yeah, Josh, my dog jumps, because it's just to become the most dog-like version of itself. If it's a lab, you'll be complaining about jumping and pulling and all this stuff. If it's like a pity, you're gonna be like, it's killing cats and it's going after other dogs, right? It's like, well, if you gave that pity to somebody who knew what they're doing, no, it's not doing that, right? It's like people are getting dogs that are challenging them so hard that, and the knowledge is so hard to find, because it is. It's out there. If you dig, you found me, right? But it's not the stuff that's on commercials and stuff. You know, you're going to PetSmart and you're going to do all this stuff to sit for a fucking piece of food. That's fine at 8 weeks old, a month old. But when you start hitting 4, 5 months, 6 months, the dog matures. It's got to be physical consequences. It's got to get done and over with. Imagine taking her at 6 months and putting her on the ground. It would be a lot easier to put her on her side. You might be able to get off this phone right now and be like, you know what, I'm gonna go take care of this dog. If she was 6 months, right? So do it one step at a time, and I want you to go back into control. This dog's not, you love her. And at the end of the day, if you get control, she'll have a better life. But I need you to be happy, because if you're not, listen, I know what happens. You love her, and I know you love her, and the dog is beating you down emotionally. Not on purpose, it's just that's how it's happening. It'll eventually get to the point where you can't do it anymore. You're just like, I just can't do it anymore. You can't. You have too much going on. And then she suffers. So what needs to happen is like, okay, I'm taking control. You come out of the kennel when I'm ready. You don't make a peep, because you're putting you first and your family first and your house first, putting her second. What ends up happening is she ends up behaving, and then she can have a better life because you feel happier. I can sleep at night, I can do all these things. I don't need to be stressed throughout the day with my dog. I've got enough shit going on. So you take control of that dog, and then your life will be better. She's not gonna like her life for a little while, but she'll get over it. And in the long term, everybody's better, because the humans are happy. And the humans need to remain happy. Because it doesn't matter how much you love the dog, eventually it's more kennel time, it's more this, it's more that. So the more you can like her, and that means her listening is all it means. That's all it really comes down to, is when I talk, you listen. So the idea is, when she comes out of her kennel, we're having those conversations of, you follow me, and this is what happens if you don't. And then when we're done with this, it's back into the kennel. Eventually she's gonna give you good behavior, and you have to make sure you let her know that was good behavior. You know, where she might just not go through the doorway the next day, and you can take the moment to say, good girl. It doesn't have to be, holy shit, awesome job. You know, you can just say, good girl, a little pat on the head. Eventually, you're gonna notice, though, I guarantee you, she's gonna want you to pet her. She's gonna want it more. Okay, we went over way too much shit. I'm so sorry. I want you to feel empowered because there's a bunch of stuff out there to help you. You're gonna take control of the situation. Slowly, surely, her world will open back up and she'll be doing more things. If you need anything, let Julie know. And then start watching these other trainers, and you're doing the work. So I'm proud of you. You put 3 hours a day in with her. I mean, don't kill yourself. I want you to be happy. If you don't want to work with her for a day, guess who doesn't have to work with her? You don't. You don't. She can't control you anymore. You can't allow it. Otherwise, she'll keep doing it because she gets to fuck what she wants. It's great. She's living a good life. So if you need anything, let us know. I understand it's a unique situation and it's difficult. I'm glad you reached out. I'm glad I got to know you a little bit better. If you need anything moving forward, now that I know your situation better, we can get into it quicker. And I want you to keep me updated. You know, good or bad. Okay.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it. All right.